So very warm evening to one and all present here. I am Madhurima Sid, host for the ProTalk session of ProTalk session for the Mohs10 Technologies. And today's topic we have the from API to autonomy, running your own AI models with OLLAMA and LLAMA3 by Atharva Patil, who is currently a BTech fourth year computer science student from IIT Bhubaneswar. So gives a hands loud to Atharva. Atharva, the stage is all yours. You may proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Madhurima. So let's start. Screen share is still disabled.
No, Atharva, not.
You need to make him a host. Keep the recording on, make him host.
Atharva, can you share your screen now?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so good evening, everybody. I'm Atharva Patil. I'm currently in my 7th semester of BTech, pursuing mechanical engineering from IIT Bhubaneswar. So I had been interning at Mohs10 Technologies from May to July. I was an SD intern and did some good projects, had good experience with them. So I would start by thanking them for giving me an opportunity for presenting this pro talk. So the topic for today will be from API to autonomy, running your own AI models with OLLAMA. So let's discuss this each and every word of this topic throughout the presentation. So let's start by giving you the agenda of what we are going to present, what I am going to present in this. So first, introduction, open source and OLLAMA. We'll give you some technical how to set up, how to work with this. The security aspects, privacy and scaling, future for this local AI, and the reference and conclusion. So let's introduce. So we have all have been using these AI agents, large language models recently, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. We all have been using. So basically, how this works is through APIs. We give them a prompt, it API sends it to the server, and we receive the response back. So this all happens through API. If a developer wants to integrate AI into his own project, he can do it using many methods. He can build his own ML model, or he can use the APIs provided by OpenAI, Anthropic, etc. So by using this API, he can leverage AI into his application. But there are advantages and disadvantages to this. So what was the API era? So instant access to AI without heavy setup. You could use API into your application without require any hardware, huge hardware setup. So this was very efficient. Many companies use this. Many companies are OpenAI wrappers, like they build their AI agents with the help of OpenAI API or Gemini API. So there are some disadvantages to this involving privacy. So if you are using API, they don't have a free tier. They have a free tier for using their AI, but not. There is some cost cost coming into this picture. Then there is aspect of privacy. While we are communicating with these LLMs, we are sending out prompt which has our private data. When you like, if we are not considerate and we just communicate with ChatGPT or Gemini, whatever we want, we are basically sending them, and they can be sometimes used against us. Many cases have been there where the conversations have been used as a legal method or something, and the flexibility is also not very there in terms of these APIs, because we have to obey the policies of the parent company. If OpenAI sets up any API policies, we have to obey them. If it shuts down the servers, the companies who are dependent on these OpenAI APIs, the wrappers, those will be affected. So it will not give us flexibility. So by these open source and local host model, we can have autonomy on our own model. We can have autonomy on how we train the model, how we how the data is presented and the data is flowed through the project. Also, there's an analogy there. The using an API for our project is like renting a car. Whenever we need, we rent a car and use it, which is actually very costly. So if you use open source local host models, it's like owning a car. We can use it whenever we want. So these are the advantages and disadvantages as I spoke about the API. Uh, the positives include we don't need any expensive hardware. Right? We just need to write some simple code to access the APIs, which we can include it in our projects. So it scales easily for millions of users. So there is the API whichever we use as a wrapper, the load is handled by the OpenAI server, so we don't have to worry about that. Instant access to cutting edge AI. So whatever the new models any company presents, we can have their APIs and access them. The disadvantages include the data which leaves our system, so we don't have control over it. We have to be considered what we send it and how we use it. Ongoing costs, so they are costly. If they include many more features like image generation, video. These incur cost, and we have to pay them if we use them. And there are token limits. So if we are using Gemini, even Gemini for free API, we actually have to pay. There is only certain tokens which are freely available. After that, we have to pay for usage. And another disadvantage is it is dependent on provider availability and policies. So we have to abide by their policies, and uh, we don't have much control if they ever shut down. So these are some companies which provide APIs. They are like OpenAI, Google, DeepSeek, Anthropic, etc. Okay. So because of these disadvantages, we actually have another type of AI, the rise of open source AI. So open source AI is basically uh, AI which is developed by volunteers. It was actually GPT-J, the firstly ever freely available LLM. This was developed by Atharva AI. It had 6 billion parameters with Apache license. So this was not a world changer or something, but it actually gave rise to this open source large language models. So next in 2022 was Bloom by Big Science. Now this was very big, which has 176 billion parameters. This was done through all volunteer collaboration. All the AI enthusiasts came together and built this. Then came Meta's uh, OLLAMA. So we'll talk about OLLAMA. So they came with Meta's Llama series. So Llama, Llama 2, Llama 3. This actually democratizes powerful models. We can use powerful model on our own system without the worry of the cost or something. So in recently, Francis Mistral has released the reasoning capable models, and this is a very has high reasoning capability if we have to use it for any complex task. So we have discussed with why it matters: cost, control, transparency, and innovation. We'll discuss about the innovation part later. So what is OLLAMA? So OLLAMA is basically stands for Omni-Layer Learning Language Acquisition Model. So it is basically a runtime environment for all these models. So if you have downloaded any uh, local host model, it's basically a runtime environment, and we can use it to run those models. So this is an open source model platform for running large LLMs built for privacy, speed, and openness. It supports Llama 3 and other very good models like Mistral. It supports Mistral. It supports DeepSeek, everything. So it is cross-platform. It can be operated on any operating system. It is simple CLI for model management and inference. It enables developers to build apps without cloud dependency. So open source and OLLAMA. So Llama 3, we'll discuss about the OLLAMAs. They have many models. So let's discuss our main model here today, Llama 3. So this was Meta's open source powerhouse. It operates on this transformer architecture, which is shown over here. So it was released by Meta in April 2024. So it has variants. It has an 8 billion parameter model, which is trained from scratch, and 70 billion parameters model. So this data set had multilingual, high quality, about 15 trillion tokens. So you actually know how good this is. So it has a context length of 8,000 tokens, and it outperforms GPT 3.5, competes with Claude, Haiku, Mistral, Medium. So it outperforms these, and we'll later compare it with GPT 4 also to see how good it is there. Recently, GPT 5 has also been launched. Llama is also is about to launch Llama 4. So in some days we can compare those two also. So this is licensed for commercial use, and it is optimized for every programming task or any instruction task, reasoning, coding instruction, everything. For this, we can also introduce our own twist into this OLLAMA by fine tuning by LoRa adapters. We discuss it afterwards. So this is also possible now. So it is integrated into Hugging Face and other cloud platforms. It is integrated into Kaggle if you wanted GitHub, everything. So this is a standard benchmark comparison between Llama 3 and GPT-4. So as you can see in MCQs, the reasoning ChatGPT or GPT-4 beats it by some margin. In Python coding, Llama 3 is beating GPT-4 by a big margin. Future capabilities, GPT-4 is just above Llama 3. And in grade school math, almost equal, but there's a slight edge for Llama 3. Even same for math problem, GPT is just high. So if we had to use OLLAMA into our, as I said, it is a local host, so we can use it in our machine. So if you are on Mac or Linux, you can use this command to install it. If you are on Windows, you can directly download from their website and use it on your command line. So step 2 is pull the model. We use this command, OLLAMA pull Llama 3 or any other model. Instead of Llama 3, if you want to put, you can use this command. Then there is this run inference. So OLLAMA run Llama 3. So by this we can use it. We can ask it anything and use it as a LLM. So by inference, what I mean is these uh, local host models do not train as they go. So one time you have installed it, it will not use any back propagation to learn from the, it will not take any feedback basically, and will run as it is fed the time you have downloaded. So let's see how can you use them. So if you have, let's compare the API is calling and the OLLAMA is calling. So for the OpenAI API request is for JavaScript is given on here. So it requires internet, it requires an API key, request sent to remote servers, usage build per token. While OLLAMA, it needs a backend for the, we have to build a backend and we can, there are multiple JavaScript, Python, we can use anything. So it runs a model locally, zero internet or API key needed, zero cost after download. So what are the differences between them? So the key differences include latency. So latency is basically response time plus request time. So as the OLLAMA is downloaded locally in our system, the latency is way low, which means it is faster. Local is faster after the model is loaded. And privacy. So local data never leaves our machine, so it is very good. It is flexible, can run offline. So the two code snippets have been pasted here. So if we had to use OpenAI API, we just uh, import that OpenAI from the library and we can use it. Same for the for OLLAMA, we need a backend server running at 11434 and we can use it. Now, performance benchmarks. So for any local host models we are using, we have to consider the hardware what we have. So if you go into the OLLAMA website, there is a list of whatever the hardware you need to use for any model you are considering, and also its specifications. So if the RAM and VRAM needs small models, they require 4 to 8 GB of RAM. Large models 16 to 32 GB. A CPU, if you are using CPU, you will get lower speed, cheaper, more accessible. GPU is high speed, optimized for machine learning. So CPU doesn't have much cores. If you are using Python to use this OLLAMA, Python generally dedicates one core per computation. It can go to 8, but only 8 to 16 cores are available for CPU. For GPU, there are about 4,000. So it's very high speed computation and it is optimized for the matrix multiplications used for train the models. And for computation also in your local host, if you have GPU, which is it can be very fast and efficient for OLLAMA. And Apple M series and NVIDIA, these are the suppliers. M series efficient, good for media models. NVIDIA GPUs are the best in business right now, best for large model inference. So latency, as we talked about, you're using API. You do not need much good hardware. It is internet data dependent, but localhost is higher initial load, faster repeat inference. So after you have downloaded, it is very fast. So when you are using these models from OLLAMA or any localhost models, how can you prompt engineer them to give you best results? So as you have talked about the latency advantage about these models, local inference means faster iteration on prompt base. And so let's talk about how we can use them. What can be your prompt style on this? So the prompt style basically should be instruction based, role based, and there should be a chain of thought to this. So basically, if you are using just give it a role first, instruction then, also a chain of thought. of what you clearly want. The system prompts set model behavior upfront for consistent outputs. The model behavior, if you want it to behave in some way, you can tell it before. So multi-turn context, manage conversation history to avoid bloating context window. So basically, to retain the context, uh, don't use the same chat window. You can just use another and another. So optimization tips keep prompts concise, use explicit formatting, reuse effective prompt templates, run irrelevant history. So this is an example how you can use it in your own command line. So I have read the prompt. After the command OLLAMA run LLAMA3, you can ask any question to that. What does Mohs10 Technologies do? It has given the answer.
Athar, a quick time check.
Okay. Okay. So the next is custom model integration. Okay. So you have your own local host model set up on your machine, but you want it to perform on a specific case. For lawyers, you need it to have use legal jargon. You need it to have the knowledge of any uh, cases from the past. For medical, you need to trained on medical models. So how can you do it? So these are some ways. So you can fine tune. You can give your own. You can have your own data set and train these models on those data sets. But the fine tuning will be very costly because, as I said, OLLAMA has about billions of parameters, about 70 billion parameters. So fine tuning then to a new data set will be very difficult. So there comes the LoRa adapters, which is low rank adaptations. So this is lightweight parameters updates for fast low resource of customization, which means instead of using the new data set, you can just add whatever uh, it needs to be understand as a data. So as I given in the on the right BP. So if I type BP with an upper arrow, I need it to understand I'm referring BP is increment. So this can be done through LoRa adapters. The third is domain specific merging. So if we can combine model with specific field specific data for specialized outputs, we can just add another set of data set to the existing, increase the parameters, and we can have the domain specific merging always. So this is the last point is the OLLAMA workflow. Import fine-tuned models or LoRa into OLLAMA for local inputs, which means there are actually already trained on specific models which we can use it on our device. Now, okay, so after you have downloaded OLLAMA onto a local system, how can you connect them to your apps? So OLLAMA provides REST API for web apps, chatbots, and AI tools. They can be used with simple HTTP post requests, and it can work with any front-end framework, React, Vue, Angular, whatever. And it supports streaming response for like chat like apps. And it is local, secure, no data leakage. So this is like an example. Okay. So from front end, we will come back to later. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Let's start with this. What are the libraries we need to use OLLAMA into our app? So if you are using Fast API as your backend, we need these libraries. Fast API, you need this middleware. So this Pydantic, this and OLLAMA, these are the two, what you can say, the libraries which we use for using these Llama or any other models. So from OLLAMA, which is a collection actually, client library we need to use, and from Fident, which is actually this is used for passing the response, and it used as a like JSON format. So use Fident. So when this React frontend calls the backend with the HTTP post method and this all headers, the request simply goes to the backend, and the backend is initializes the OLLAMA client. So these are some endpoints. The get message, so like it is running or not, the backend is running or not, the help, and the extract. This extract feature actually extracts the response from there, and this calls the model, and we get the response.
So Atharva, you have
So
last 5 minutes.
okay, okay. So I will go through the security, privacy, and scaling aspects. So if you are using on-device processing, no raw data is into third party. That is true. So then the regulatory compliance, we can use the models which complying with these regulations, with like HIPAA and RBI and etc. guidelines. So they minimize breach risk because no data is sent anywhere else. Offline capability we have discussed, user control, so full ownership. You can tweak the models however you want. You can use the data, any model. Scaling beyond your laptop. So basically, if we want multiple people to use the model, we can just deploy it on our server, run OLLAMA on any powerful cloud server. And the second method is local network sharing. If multiple laptops or computers are set up on a local network sharing LAN, so there is one instance, we can just download it on one instance and multiple users can use it. There's edge devices. There are something called edge devices, which have low latency edge close to the data source. So this then there is hybrid workflows. Then we can use the cloud also from here, cloud and local for hybrid benefits. Then, yeah, benefits we discussed. So, what is the road ahead for this local AI? So, basically, there are multiple models, not only Llama 3, which we can use for better listening, multi-capable. They are used for other languages also, multilingual models, and many even image generation models are used. So, efficiency, faster inference, lower VRMs, optimized CPU support. And there is also a huge community support for this on GitHub, Hugging Face, Kaggle. So one developer can use these models very easily. Quantization, shrink models fits on laptops and edge devices without performance loss, and more offline capable AI for individual and organization. So the key takeaways from this are when to use APIs, when to go local. So I discussed the advantage and disadvantage of both. So one can uh, like see what approach is the best. There's hybrid approach also, you can mix both. And the main takeaway is to go for your problem, see which model is the best, see the hardware, and then go forward. So okay, so this was the references which I have taken from the documentation. We can see is the code camp article and YouTube video also on OLLAMA, and other articles from r/OLLAMA in Reddit or X. So this was all about the open source and local host AI elements. Thank you.
So, team, any questions from your side for Atharva? So, Atharva, it's a great session. We learned a lot of things regarding the OLLAMA and the API calls and everything from your side. So thank you again for the great knowledge that you have shared with all of us. And happy Independence Day. With this, we wrap up this ProTalk.
One question.
Yeah, please.
Yes. Yeah, Athar, it was a great session. So I want to know one more thing. Like, let's say we're running a very lightweight application, right? But something is there. We need to leverage that power of this OLLAMA LLAMA. Then what can we do to leverage that thing in our application?
So the first step is to download it on your local machine. Then if the what backend you are using, JavaScript, Python. The documentations are available in OLLAMA's documentation. So they will tell you which libraries to import and how to make API calls. From that, you can use them. Or if you want to set up in server, you can set up in AWS server. Those documentations are also there, and you can use it from there.
Okay. Okay, Athar. Yeah, I'm done.
Thank you, Athar, for your insightful thoughts. It was indeed a great session, team. And once again, thank you and happy Independence Day, everyone.
Happy
Bye.
Independence Day.
Thank you, team.